Hey guys, so it's almost Christmas season, so I figured I'd make a video on my collection of RadioShack RC cars. I myself am too young to remember the peak of RadioShack. I only have one or two memories of going in it. But I know some of you guys, this is the stuff that either started your hobby in RC cars or were just like super stoked to get just dig into underneath the Christmas tree on Christmas morning. So some of these were my personal cars from my childhood. Not a lot of them. Actually, probably only one of them is now that I'm looking at it. That little Dash 49 car right there, the Radio Shack 4x4. Got that probably going on a year ago now, and that was really the start of my collection, I guess. But yeah, digging this stuff out, I realized I had more than I thought I did. So, you know, I've actually got more directly that way that I'll probably make another video on. It's all older RC car stuff, but it's none of it's Radio Shack. I'm just going to be going through my collection right here because I know it's around Christmas season. Some of you guys might enjoy this because, like I said, some of you might have woke up Christmas morning in the 80s or 90s, early 2000s, whenever some of this stuff came out, and like just got one of these and was super stoked about it. I'm going to rearrange my camera because right now I've got it set up on this little dinky tripod and it's kind of sketchy because this is about an $800 camera on a $20 tripod. So I'm going to move it somewhere else and we can start going through my collection right here. So I guess we'll start right here with the truck that started all of this mess. So I think, yeah, this is just a Radio Shack Off-Roader 4x4. Like I mentioned, I'm going to college up around the Boone, North Carolina area. And I picked this up around Connolly Springs, which is kind of far away, but I wanted it. I paid like $40 for it, which is the most I've paid for any of these. If you know anything about these, you know how hard it is to find this thing in this good a shape. Like the tires ain't even dry rotted on it. Not even dry rotted, they're not even flat spotted. This one is kind of dusty. I should have cleaned it up before this. But I picked this up. I made a whole little video on this channel. I put newer electronics in this thing, and it's actually kind of a ripper, to be honest. It's still got the factory motor in it. It's got a different ESC, and it's got a 10 scale servo. So, and I didn't cut anything up, so all this can go back. Up under here, I've got a little battery wire for 900 milliamp hour. If you want to go watch that, I'll link it down in below, but I think that's the only dedicated video I have of these cars on this channel is this one. This one right here, it's a super good looking truck. I put some clear coat on it just because some of the decals were peeling and I didn't like that. But yeah, it's in really good shape. I keep it elevated on this little chassis right here underneath some blocks on the shelf. That way the tires don't flat spot, and I suggest you do the same. It's just a really nice looking truck. For the most part, I think I have all of the original transmitters for these cars, I think. This one does have the battery door. I know one or two of these is missing that, but that's no big deal. I've thought about if a man had a 3D printer, you could just about reproduce these, but I don't have one. And all of that's kind of just over my head, to be honest. You're going to notice with these, I love leaving the antennas on. Well, actually, this is the only one I've retrofitted with new electronics, but my plan is that if I do very much of that, the antenna has got to stay. Because driving this thing around and just seeing this thing flopping around, it's awesome. Alright, next is, let's go with this wing buggy. Again, super sick looking car. I mean, look at the decals. Actually no. Again, it's dusty. All the decals are in really good shape on it. It is missing the front wing right here, which I didn't even realize when I bought it, but I still would have bought it anyways, so that's no big deal. Tires are in pretty good shape. Also, if you need replacement tires for this, let me go grab one. So for a replacement tire on this, you'll notice that these look... Actually, you may not notice. I'm just assuming things. You may notice or not. These are awfully similar to like a Tamiya Grasshopper or Sand Scorcher RC car. And you can still buy those. So, look right here. Here's the rear tire. It looks awfully similar. Right there. And here's the front tire. I've had to exclude on before. That's that mess on there. So yeah, actually those are a little bit bigger. I'm sure they fit though. So if you need replacement tires for this car, and I know some of the other Radio Shack cars use these same tires, it's for a Tamiya Sand Scorcher or Grasshopper. I know for a fact it's for a Grasshopper. This one I had to go out of my way for. Not really. See, I went to Indianapolis for this car. And I'm in North Carolina, Indianapolis, Indiana. That's actually not true at all. We do Hot Rod Power Tour, which is like you drive your old car like 5 days, for 5 days to 5 cities, and it's thousands of miles you do. One of the cool things about that is that there's nothing stopping you from looking at Facebook Marketplace the whole time. And that's what we do. So this was a marketplace find up in Indianapolis. I paid $25 for this sucker. The guy wouldn't budge. But again, I drove hundreds of miles for this thing, so I might as well. It's in really good shape other than that front wing. All the decals and stuff are still there. And this may never get driven. But it's going to look good on my shelf. And again, I really need to elevate the rest of these. This one I care too much about to let it sit on its tires. But these tires are kind of dry rotting and stuff. That's the RadioShack wing buggy, and here's the transmitter for it. Neat little transmitter. Let's switch it up a little bit to a mini car. This right here is a sealed zip zap. So zip zaps were just, I don't want to call them entry level, but they were the cheapest cars that they sell there at RadioShack. And I may be making all this up too. This is just stuff I've read online. It's just like a little. It's just like a little. I think this is a Porsche. Just a little car, and then the back, you could kit it out with whatever you want. So I know, for instance, Ampro Engineering had like a whole series on these where it replaced the batteries and stuff because the batteries are obviously bad. Because this is from 2002, so this is from the year I was born. This I picked up at a yard sale up around Sparta, North Carolina. They do like a thing called the 21 yard sale, which is, I want to say it's like 80 to 100 miles of just yard sale, which is, it's a lot of junk. But like, you get cool stuff like this. That unfortunately has been like dying in size each year. It's kind of sad. You want to read all this? Have at it. Pause it. I don't know. This one's still sealed and stuff. This I actually picked up probably 2 years ago before I was into all this. I just thought it was cool. I didn't think I'd be collecting stuff like this, but I am. This will never get opened if I have anything to do with it. And yeah, that's a little zip zap. So let's continue on the zip zap train. This is the one I know for sure is one of my original ones. This right here is a zip zap that I don't have to package anymore, but it's a little Herbie zip zap, and it's actually like a really nice little model. Like the proportions on this thing is like killer. So this one has, for as long as I can remember, been sitting on a shelf in my room upstairs, above my computer desk, and has basically followed me everywhere I've went. And then I got into this stuff, and it was actually long after I picked up this zip zap, I realized, like, hey, do I have one of those? And I did have one of those. I looked in the bottom, I saw RadioShack, and I was like, oh, I never knew that's what that was. Got the transmitter for it too. It's actually pretty neat. It's got like the Herbie writing and stuff on it. So how these work, or how this has always been sitting in my room, is just somehow or another it clips on there, and I don't want to force it because this is all really old plastic now. And that's how you charge it. And it's got a little super dinky little battery in this thing. You can kind of see it's the green section underneath there. And of course those go bad over time. But what doesn't go bad is how cool these little cars look. I'm sure you guys have been looking at the jumbo van, so let's go and get that. Because the jumbo van is, I'm just going to say, it's one of the most popular RadioShack RC cars, because just look at it. Again, this actually came from the same place as the Porsche Zip Zap from the 21 yard sale up around Sparta. Actually, yeah, this one came from Sparta, North Carolina. You'll never guess how much I paid for this. $5. So there was this kid set up there, and he was selling his Hot Wheels. Like, he was probably 8 or 9. And this was just literally upside down in his Toyota Hot Wheels with the transmitter. This one is missing the battery door. And all the negotiating went through the kid. Like, this guy was like maybe 8 years old. So I bought a bunch of Hot Wheels from him because I'm also a child. I like Hot Wheels. And we had to ask him how much this was, and he said $5. And I was like, yep, sure. I'm not even going to negotiate with an 8-year-old because why would I? Yeah, this one, again, super good shape. The decals are decent. I'm thinking one of these is messed up. Yeah, so this one right here is starting to peel. If I were to put newer electronics in this to match my 4x4, I'd probably clear coat this, but I'm just not going to. This one is sitting on blocks over there up on my shelf, my RadioShack shelf, because one of the wheels is like turning black right here too. That's kind of weird. And I've never looked at it, but I now have the chance to. I picked one of these up recently. Before I do that, here's the transmitter. And I'll just look at all the RadioShack emblem there on the back. That's pretty neat to me. It's missing the battery cover. But I watched a Tom Lee RC video on one of these, and I was like, that kind of looks like a Tamiya lunchbox, but I've never had one to compare it to this. Hey, that kind of fits directly in behind there, don't it? So this is a different scale. I thought they just ripped this body off completely, but this body is just a whole lot bigger overall. Yeah. Okay, so they're similar, but they're not exact. If you want a really good kid RC car, by the way, I'm gonna go off on a tangent. Anything Tamiya is the best, but this specifically, this lunchbox is hands down one of the best kits I've ever bought. It is unironically the best driving RC car I've ever driven. It's so smooth. It actually turns on a dime for how terrible the steering is, and it pops wheelies and stuff. Yeah, I love this little RC car. So we could either do some X mods or this weird little Grinch car. This one kind of scares me, so I'm going to go and get it out of the way. This was my most recent purchase. This was a promotional item for the Jim Carrey movie, The Grinch Stole Christmas. Like, is it the... Hold on, when was this? I think it's the, like, 1999 or something. I picked this up because why wouldn't you? It was $8. I got this up from a thrift store up around Whitful, Virginia. I was going to say North Carolina. That's not in North Carolina. It is surprising how detailed this sucker is, which is kind of why I don't like it. But I collect RadioShack RC car stuff, obviously. I had to have this. See, you've got the little flag on it still. It's in super good shape. The car itself is like kind of cheap, but this had no business being this detailed right here. It's kind of creepy, and I don't like it on my shelf. But like, why would you not buy this? You know, I can think of a lot of reasons I wouldn't have bought this, but I did buy it. Yeah, it's in really good shape. Even the transmitter is in really good shape, like this sticker right here. Oh, and it's even got the sticker right here. I can't imagine if a kid used this very much, that sticker would be non-existent. Because I would be taking this thing down a gravel driveway somehow, and that would just not be there no more. Yeah, so I'm not going to spend very much time on this because, to be honest, I don't want to look at this in editing because I just don't like looking at it for some reason. Even the head turns. I don't, Okay, so let's do an X mod. Actually, let's do both of my X mods because they are identical. I did really good at the 21 yard sale this year because this whole kit right here, with the car and this cool little magazine was $5. So if you don't know what X mod is, this is like imagine the Kyosho Mini Z today. This was like its non-existent competitor from the early 2000s. I want to say this is like 2002 or 2003. Came with this super sick magazine, which is fully detailed, by the way. And it's like a tuner magazine from this era, but with like all of these little X mods. And I picked these up as much as I can just because of how sick these are. Like, look at that ad for an actual like tuner shop from, what was this? Should be a copyright somewhere. There's not. But yeah, here's the car. It is insane how detailed this little doohickey is. Like, just, it's amazing. Actually, we could do this too. It's got lights ran to all the lights. Yeah, it's got wires ran to all the lights, but they don't work. Actually, this whole car just doesn't work, which is kind of a shame. I've got 2 of these, so it's kind of tempting to retro mod or retrofit one with newer electronics. These things are just so nice. So in here, I don't know how I'm going to show you without dumping all this. Here's your transmitter. I'll show you that in a second. It came with all these different motors and stuff. I think these were like little tuning kits that you could pick up. You could pick up a pack of motors. Pick up a pack of motors, and they all had like different pinions and thus different speeds and stuff. And then came with little body kits and stuff. Like that's a different bumper. Pretty much all of this is just different little things. If you want to go down a neat rabbit hole, just look up just stuff on YouTube, and just like the cars that they came up with is just awesome. And this transmitter right here, you know, that doesn't get as sicker as that. Is that a word? I don't know. And if you didn't like this little wheel right here, you're in luck, because they released a Sparko wheel for your controller. It bolts on there somehow or another, and that's also super cool. So yeah, I picked this one up for $5, and it was pretty much complete with all the paperwork and stuff, and obviously the car. But then the same Goodwill I pick up all my older stereo stuff from had this also for $5. This is less of a good deal, but it's still a killer deal for this. So, like I said, I have two of these. This one's missing the transmitter, but it's got a bunch of like the hop-up parts, like the springs and stuff. But this one doesn't have a body kit or anything. I want to combine both of these kits for one where it would be like it came straight off the RadioShack shelf. That's how you would have got it, like back in 2000 something when these came out. And one, I kind of just want to throw some newer electronics in and just drive it, you know. I thought about painting it, but like the paint job on this thing is killer, so why would you even touch that? So yeah, I'm not sure what I'll do with these. Probably what I just said. Oh, actually, I didn't even show you how the body comes off. It's kind of a cool system. So you got a little clip back here. And then you got a little thing to push in. Or pull, yeah, there you go. And there's your little chassis. Like, that's for a toy grade RC. I don't even think this is toy grade. This is full blown hobby grade from RadioShack back in the day. Wow, this camera's done 8 a battery almost. Yeah, ran off AAA batteries actually. They're on the sides. This is pretty similar to the modern day Kyosho Mini Z in many ways. We're going to do the big boy next. So my shelf over there I have dedicated just for this stuff is already outgrown, so I need to figure that out. But this is, I don't even remember what this is. It's the Crocodile Hunter. It came with it's like a play set. You're supposed to get a boat up here. Who is that Australian crocodile guy? Steve Irwin. How did I forget that? So this came with like a little Steve Irwin action figure, a crocodile, a boat on top. I don't have any of that, by the way. I don't even have a transmitter. You'll never guess where this came from. It rhymes with 21 yard sale. It's 21 yard sale. This again was just laying in a bin outside of. It looked like it was going to the trash, to be honest. And when I first got it, it might as well have, because I cleaned it up quite a bit. I don't remember exactly how much I gave for this, but it was less than $5. I think it was like $2 or $3. And this is just pretty much a full blown 10 scale RC car from RadioShack. And like the little side covers back here open up and stuff. Yeah, it's just a really neat little car. Again, this is one of those, I want to put modern electronics in it. Maybe do something with the springs, because it's kind of, it'd be cool to fit like oil-filled shocks on this sucker, because it's got a really good look to it. And this came attached to it. It's a old NiCad. Is this a NiCad? Nickel monohydride. So this is RadioShack there on the top. It's pretty cool. That came with it. I don't have to worry about that exploding because it's not a LiPo. But this is just this has no business being this detailed. And the only issue is where's it at? The tires are dry rotted. Yeah, so this one's just split wide open. I would not be scared to glue that or try to. The tires are kind of roached, but you'll be alright. They'll drive just fine. Yeah, this one's got a full-blown interior in it. I've cleaned all of this up. I don't really know what to say on this because it's kind of missing a lot. But yeah, even if I just like take the body and put on a newer frame, this is still a cool looking car. And I don't even know if I do that because I kind of feel bad cutting these things up. So yeah, that's the Crocodile Hunter. So let's go to, I'll save the good one for last, which is this. This, I actually did travel quite a bit for. We had other reasons to go that way. But look how cool this car looks. I don't have a clue. Actually, I do. This was a cartoon, like a British cartoon. Basically, this car would drive around and just like get in the mischief and stuff. I don't really know. It's just, again, look how detailed this sucker is. You know, it's just a cool little car. Got traffic cones in the back of it for some reason. So I actually went all the way to buy this thing, and they said it worked because it's got the transmitter right here. Look how cool that transmitter is. Yeah, so they said it worked, and actually the Facebook listing showed a video of it working. The issue is when we got there, they couldn't get it to work. So I didn't have to do anything. They went down from $20 to $5. And I was like, sure. So I spent $5 on this. One of the wheels is bent. Is it this one? Yeah. That's kind of unfortunate. I'm thinking in my mind of how to fix that, and I just have no idea. Because you're going to break this plastic all to pieces. It's a cool looking little car. It's got a full interior, so a little action guy would, actually on this side, would be pretty nice. It is missing the windshield, but all that is just a cheap piece of plastic that slides down here and like goes up at an angle. So I can make that. I'm not too worried about that. What is this thing? Yeah, it's Brum. Does it say on the front? Yeah. See, it's supposed to, when you hit a combination of these buttons, it's got a motor rocket back and forth, and like this is supposed to spin. But most of the time the motor doesn't even catch. So, yeah, that's all on that. It's just a cool looking little car. There's not much to say about it. So this one, my dad picked up while he was camping with my mom somewhere. And it's a kind of fragile shape. But it's the yellow version of this off-road 4x4 right here. So this was the Dash 49 and this is the Dash, is it 27? That was, the number stood for the megahertz. That way you could pick this up, you could pick this one up, and your kids could race around the yard. If you had more than 2 kids, that kind of sucked for you, I guess. But, because you already know this, but back in the day, if you had the same car on the same frequency, it would like, you know, tweak out and stuff. So yeah, this is, it's not new in box, but is one of these trucks with a box. Kind of cool. It's got your specs on the side, you know, with some very 80s looking children playing that with their collared shirts. I'm sure they're going to get yelled at because they have grass stains on their pants. There's an obvious issue with this, but that's okay. This tire is terrible. And I think there's 2 things that are really bad to break on these trucks, and that is the lights up here, and that is this front push bar, and this is broke. But that's alright. As much as I fool this, I figure I'll pick up a parts truck at some point just for the tire and this front push bar. Actually, on mine, I took it off because I didn't like the way it looked. And there's a box over here on the shelf that has it in it, and to be honest, that box is missing now. I just went and looked. So I need to find that because that's actually worth quite a bit by itself, just because they're so bad to break. This one, again, not even in that bad of shape. It just looks like it's been sitting for a while. Looks like a kid got a hold of it. Yeah, the turbos in this thing look brand new. Like, how did it... I'm just imagining a dog or a kid got a hold of this something. I don't know. I don't even know. But you can tell the subtle differences in these. Obviously the big one, the color. But the snout or whatever, these are like 2 individual air cleaners. This is just one like bug catcher. And your lights are different right here. And this one's got the transmitter and stuff. I didn't even plan that, but I started out the video with what started this whole collection. I ended it with the same truck. So yeah, that's my entire RadioShack RC collection. I figured coming up around Christmas this video would do pretty good. And I've been aiming to make this for a while, but to be honest, I just kept collecting. So I was like, at what point do I make this video? And I might, who knows, I might go buy some more this afternoon. So yeah, that's about it. I plan on doing a whole other video on my other vintage radio, not even RadioShack, just radio controlled cars. Probably starting out with this one. It's a Remco Winged Outlaw or whatever. You'll never guess how much I paid for this. Rhymes with $5. It was $5. So yeah, I've got too many of those just to ignore them, so I'll make a whole other video with those. Probably do that here in a second. That's the end of this video. More than likely, if I ever fix some of these, it'll be on my other channel, which will be linked in the description. It's called the Electronics Aisle, which is where it's kind of a new channel I started. It's actually doing better than I thought it would. I basically just work on and just like dive into cool older electronics and stuff. There's no rhyme or reason to it. Like the first video was some old audio equipment. The second, well actually not the second, but the other video I plan on doing this afternoon is just some old like 1920s cameras. It's just anything older electronics. Actually, those cameras are more mechanical, so I'm not sure why I'm putting that on the channel, but I will be putting that on the channel at some point. So that's it for this video though, so thanks for watching.